Hey there, welcome. So glad to have you all here on this Wednesday before the 4th of July. So we are deep in the midst of summer here, and I'm sure you are where you are too. Oh, hang on. I'm trying to start this over on Instagram and it's not working. And it says, okay, that's all right. It says we're having troubles. Instagram's having troubles today. So no worries. I wanted to share something with you though today. This is going to be a podcast episode coming out next week. And the title of this is How This Farmer Stopped Stepping Over $100 Bills to Pick Up Pennies. And I think you're going to relate to this. It's a phrase I first heard many years ago in my life. And it just came back to me when I was coaching a client this week. So, this conversation, I think it's going to change how you think about your farm too, or at least I hope it will. I'm going to encourage you to dive in and see where you might be making the same mistakes this person is. So, picture this. I know you're working your tail off, especially right now in the middle of summer. We tend to say yes to every request or sale that comes our way, but somehow we end up still making less money and feeling more burned out than ever. If you can relate, because I know this used to be me at the beginning, I want to take you behind the scenes of a coaching call with one of my flower farm clients. And I just had this call this week. And who she discovered in our session that she was doing what I call stepping over $100 bills to pick up pennies. By the end of this episode, you're going to know exactly how to identify where you might be doing the same thing on your farm. And I encourage you to do this because you will become so much more profitable when we learn to look at these little things that are sucking up our money and time and we don't even know we're doing it. So here was this farmer's situation. She runs a beautiful flower farm with her husband. She has a subscription model. So she has people who get bouquets delivered every week. She does events, flowers for events, which she absolutely loves. And any leftovers get snapped up by florists. And she also takes one-off bouquet orders because people started asking, hey, can you do a bouquet for this or that thing? And she says yes to them too. On paper, it sounds like she's really diversified and doing what she can to serve her customers. And she's really busy, which we often mistake for being profitable. We're so busy and we think, and we're making sales, we think we're profitable. It's not usually the case. Here's what's really happening. Anytime an order came in for one of these one-off bouquets, she said she spent about 4 hours total doing these $65 bouquets that customers would order randomly throughout the week because she wanted to be convenient and she didn't want to say no to anyone and she wanted to offer great service. So she thought it was worth making any sale. That's why she wanted to offer this convenience. But in our coaching call, what she thought was taking her a short amount of time because she wasn't even aware of all the hours she was putting into it until I started questioning her. And she realized it was taking her 4 hours total. She would have to stop whatever she was doing. She would read about the order, figure it out, think about it, pick the flowers and create the design. And then she offered to deliver it for $15, which most people took her up on, or she had to wait around for them to pick it up. And so I want you to do the math here. I did the math with her right on the coaching call. And the reason coaching is so crucial and important is we get caught up in the busy work and we forget to do the math. I do the same thing. My coach questions me to do the math on certain things I'm deciding on offering or not. And I realize, oh, that's a really bad decision. So if you're caught up doing something where you're stepping over $100 bills to pick up pennies, no worries. We all do it. Once we become aware of it, we got to get ourselves out of it. So when we did the math for her, $65 plus $15 delivery equals $80. If we take out the expenses of $40 and then take out taxes and divide it by her 4 hours of work, that's $6.50 an hour, which is far below the poverty level. That's crazy, right? So $6.50 she's taken home. Think of it this way. I told her to think of it this way. $6.50 times 4 is $26. Just imagine if someone said, hey, you could pay $26 and buy 4 hours of time. Would you do it? Heck, I would. If I could pay someone $26 to get 4 hours of time, that would be amazing. But yet she's spending 4 hours to make $6.50 an hour, to make $26. Again, it doesn't add up. You can't, we would rather give that money away and have our time back. So in our coaching session, I continue to get more details like, what does she love doing? Well, she does events, which she loves making event flowers because they come in bulk. They're usually 3 bouquets, 10 bouquets. She has a $200 minimum, and that makes up 40 to 50% of her income. So 50% of her money comes from something she loves doing. And they're so much more efficient with her minimum and multiple bouquets per order. But she was so busy fulfilling these one-off orders that she wasn't spending time marketing her events to her current existing customers. And this is what I call the busy trap. And I'm curious if you're like me. When I first became aware of my own busy trap, maybe you're nodding your head right now because you recognize this pattern on your farm where you get caught up doing these things, forgetting to add up that you're not making money, and it's keeping you from doing the money-making things. So let's talk about the opportunity cost. Here's how the coaching got real. I asked this farmer, what if you took those 4 hours a week you spend on these one-off bouquets and instead wrote one email per week to your email list marketing your event services, which she wasn't doing. She didn't have time. And the silence on her end was deafening because suddenly she could see it. She was making $6.50 an hour for 4 hours of work more than once. It wasn't just once a week. Sometimes it was 2 or 3 times a week when she could be making $500 to $1,000 and more for that same 4 hours of work with focused email marketing to her current customer list. So let me break this down for you because this formula changes everything. She's doing 4 hours of work, $80, hourly rate of $6.50 for that 4 hours of work. The alternative, 4 hours of work spent on creating, crafting an email. I teach you exactly how to do that. That's going to sell events, $500 to $1,000 per event. So what if that 4 hours spent marketing, she drummed up $3,000 worth of events? All of a sudden, we're at hundreds of dollars per hour. That's 10, 20, 30 times improvement in her hourly revenue. Got it? It's crazy, but it's almost like once I saw this, I couldn't unsee it. It was like, oh, I got to stop doing these things that are costing me so much money. And this is what we all do. We often get stuck in this trap. We do this until we become aware of this busy trap and this opportunity cost. So if this is what you're doing, don't beat yourself up. We all do it. Give yourself some grace. You didn't know this. Now you're becoming aware of it. But here's the kicker with this client, and this is where the mindset shift happens. This farmer's first reaction was, but Charlotte, I didn't want to turn away sales. And I said, you're not turning away a sale. This, again, is you're stepping over $100 bills to pick up pennies. The sale is a penny. Now, on occasion, I mean, it's a penny relative to what she's not spending time selling. So yeah, she's not going to say yes to these people. She has all these people that want to order 5 and 10 bouquets for events, which guarantees she will be in business 1 or 2 or 5 years from now. If she does the one-off sales, she won't be in business a year or 2 from now to give anyone flowers. So you've got to do this. Now, on occasion, I'm not saying you never do a one-off bouquet. If it's a very special customer or your mom or a very special friend and it's very rare, of course you might do it. But you've got your business, your farm needs you to focus on the $100 bills and stop stepping over them so that your farm can be around for the long run. Because 98% of farmers go out of business by year 5, many of them because they can't make it work with the hours they put into it. And this is one of the main reasons why. So I want to pause here because this is where a lot of farmers get stuck. We have this scarcity mindset that says every dollar counts, a dollar's a dollar, every sale matters. And maybe even saying no to anything feels like leaving money on the table. But here's what I've learned after a lifetime of farming and years of coaching farmers to get profitable. The most profitable farmers I work with, the successful ones that I see every year, we're turning out hundreds of successful farmers in farm marketing mastery. They aren't the ones who say yes to everything. They're the ones who get really good at saying no to the wrong things so they can say yes to the right things. And the right things are the ones that keep us in business and make us sustainable, not the ones that drag us down. So this farmer's one-off bouquets weren't just low profit. They were actually costing her money in opportunity cost because every hour she spends on a $6.50 per hour activity is an hour she wasn't spending on a $100 per hour activity or more. Get it? So this really gets me fired up. She already had everything she needed to scale her event business. She has an engaged list of subscribers, taught her to create that. They love her flowers. They get them delivered weekly as her subscription customers. She has the skill to create beautiful arrangements. She has the capacity to fill these large orders. The only thing missing was the time to market them consistently. That's it. So just notice that. We don't have the time here because we're spending it over here on something that returns us $6.50 per hour, does not add up. We got to stop doing those things. So how do you apply this to your farm? Take a piece of paper and seriously, grab your phone and do the calculations. Pause this if you need to and do this. I want you to list out every revenue stream in your business, everything that you make money from. And for each revenue stream, write down how much time you spend on it per week, how much revenue it generates, and in how many sales it generates, but then what is your hourly rate? Take away the expenses and then take away whatever's left is the profit. Take away, say, 35% for taxes for the profit, and then divide the rest up by the hourly rate. Here's the magic question based on that calculation. What would happen if you eliminated your lowest performing revenue stream and instead invested that time in your highest performing revenue stream? So you list out all the things in order, the one that makes you the most money. What if you took the hours from the lowest one and spent those hours on the highest money maker? For this farmer I was coaching, the answer was crystal clear for her. She was going to eliminate the one-off bouquets. She was like, I'm doing that now. I'm going to get those off the website immediately. And she was going to invest that time in event marketing and potentially increase her revenue by thousands %, right? 3,600 times more money. So just know, I see this pattern everywhere. It could be the farmer who spends hours taking care of chickens and getting the eggs ready to sell, but doesn't know how to price them profitably. We teach that, by the way. And once you do the pricing exercise on the eggs, many people realize, oh, it's the time I'm spending, I don't get nearly what I should be doing or should be getting. And the time you're spending, then they say, well, I don't have time to sell my meat. I don't have enough time to send weekly emails for my chicken, pork, and beef. And they think the chicken eggs will attract customers who will buy the other meat products. However, my clients demonstrate week after week and year after year, they make at least 200% more money each year on average when they eliminate the things that are costing them money and they get time back to market the things that actually make money. Or a lot of farmers get stuck giving one-off free farm tours. So people drop in and they want a tour before they'll buy from you or whatever. We end up saying yes to lots of free tours instead of inviting everyone to one farm tour on a Saturday, paid, not free. Because if people don't have skin in the game, if they aren't going to pay you, they're far less likely to show up. So you got to make it a paid tour. You do it once a month. And you take all that time you're spending doing those one-off tours and spend it learning how and marketing and selling the money-making things. All right. So another way we step over $100 bills to pick up pennies is doing things that aren't making us money. And in so doing, we miss the money making opportunities. For example, the same farmer was worried about her website. She wanted it to be perfect and better, and she wanted to tweak the fonts and the colors and the layouts. And I reminded her, and I want to remind you too, none of that stuff is going to make you money. Getting your colors exactly right on the website, getting your logo exactly right, getting the layout exactly right is not going to make you money. Money is made when you email your list and say, click here to get your subscription, click here to book your event, flowers, click here to buy, click here to sign up. That's how we make money. We don't make money spending hours tweaking and perfecting our website over here. So many of us get caught up in these shiny objects of the minutia, like having the perfect website or the perfect logo. I created a website template for farmers. I've got it. It's laid out. It's easy. It's set up in a way that you could probably finish your website in 2 sittings at your computer. The template is already set up to get you a beautiful website up there so that farmers stop spending all the hours they do tweaking it and perfecting it. It's already set up in a way that's going to make you money. So if you find yourself spending a lot of time trying to tweak your website, thinking that'll make you more money, it won't. We got to stop that. Let's just get you a basic website set up and then spend your time learning how to sell the things that are making you money. Okay. And if you need to tweak your website, do it in December and January when most of us are seasonal. I know not all of us are, but most of us are seasonal. So in the slow time, work on your website. But if it is stopping you in any way from sending a marketing email this week, then we want to drop that and pick it up at a later time. Okay. We're headed into the busy season now. It's July. We're getting into the peak here. We want to be marketing like crazy and stop being distracted by the things that are preventing us from making sales. So I just want to ask you, what is your equivalent? Where are you spending time on busy work or work that's keeping you from the money-making things and is preventing because you don't have the time to do the money-making things because they're sucking up your time? Where is that for you? So here's your challenge for this week. I'd love for you to do this. Do the revenue stream audit I mentioned earlier. List every way you make money. Calculate your hourly rate for each one and identify your lowest performing activity on your farm. And then look at your calendar for last week, for instance, or the last month. How much time did you spend on that lower performing activity? Like making deliveries or taking care, lots of time growing something for very little return. And this is step 2. Ask yourself, what would happen if you invested that time in your highest performing activity instead? Like this farmer, what would happen if you took the 4 hours away from one delivery and focused that on marketing your events? She would sell like crazy. She would many, many times multiply her sales. So use that time to learn the skills I teach, to email your list in ways that compel them to buy the higher margin things you sell. And then step 3 of this is your challenge. Choose one thing to eliminate or delegate this week if you want, but probably eliminate. What's one thing you can get rid of? What's one thing you can stop doing that will free you up to do the money-making things? And invest that time into something that moves you ahead towards sustainability and profitability. All right. And here's the thing I want you to remember. Every successful farmer has to learn to say no to good opportunities. We all do. And that frees you up to say yes to the money-making things and the things that drive your success. You don't need more revenue streams. What you need is more focus on the right revenue streams, the right products or events on your farm that are making you money. You don't know which right ones are. Those are things we coach on in Farm Marketing Mastery all the time. If you're not in there, it's unbelievable farm consulting and coaching. and marketing training to help you get your farm profitable. All right. One thing I want to leave you with before I wrap up is this farmer also said, but I didn't want to let go of the one-off bouquets because it was still a sale. So she was still worried about making a sale. And I call that scarcity mindset. That's what's talking here is a scarcity mindset. The abundant mindset of a sustainable and profitable farmer, which you can shift to. We got to practice thinking in a different way. And that the way we need to practice thinking is something like, I'm going to let go of this $80 sale so I can create space for the $800 sale. In her case, event flowers. If she stopped doing the $80 sale, she has ample time to craft a great email, even get it rewritten by me and make that $800 or more sale. That's a profitable mindset. All right. And that's what we're here doing. And the only way to a profitable farm is to have a profitable mindset. The mindset, your thoughts are the only thing in your way. So that's what we work on every week in Farm Marketing Mastery. If you want to dive deeper into any of this, into building a profitable farm, you want to identify what's in the way of you doing that, let's meet. If you haven't met yet, sign up for a free strategy session. That's at charlottemsmith.com/strategy. Me or someone on my team will meet for you and we'll see if Farm Marketing Mastery and my coaching program is what you need right now. We can help you decide that. All right. I'd love to meet you there, but otherwise I'll see you next time. And have a great 4th of July. Those of you who are watching this live, have fun. Be safe. All right. I'll see you in the next episode.